girls, we are back. Thank you so much for tuning back in to another episode of Eat the Donut, Eat the Damn Donut, where we are achieving fat loss freedom with a happily ever after. Imagine your life where you've reached your goal. Think about it like a movie. You are the main character and you've reached your goal and you feel that disconnect emotionally from having the cookie and not feeling guilty because of it, or enjoying a night out with your spouse or your partner or a friend and not feeling shamed the next day. And at the end, where you reach your goal, they sign off the movie and it goes, they lived happily ever after, the end. And then you just go about living your life, enjoying your life, being able to take care of your health, maintain your progress, have a healthy relationship with food, and live a life with freedom behind your nutrition, behind your training. That's what this podcast is all about, baby. Developing that happily ever after. So in today's episode, I'm going to go over 10 tips that I wish I knew when it came to dieting, when it came to losing weight, when it came to losing fat. These tips are also very underrated. And spoiler alert, they're not sexy, but they are effective. Most of the time, we want to do the sexy things because typically what it's really doing is just ignoring the real problems we have to solve, which we'll dive into a little bit more today, what those problems are, how to solve them, but just 10 things I wish I knew during this process, mentally, physically, because in the past, how long have I been training now and on my health and fitness journey? I mean, I've always played sports growing up, but really diving into my fitness, my nutrition, I probably started that more around 17. I mean, as you know, in podcast number 1, the first podcast I recorded, I probably started having body image issues in like, what was it, third grade? Yeah, Miss Daigle's class, third grade. Someone called me fat for wondering why this girl liked me and just getting super embarrassed, super red. And that was the moment that really has stuck to me. And I'm 31 at this point, and I was like 10 or 11 back then, that I really remember starting to have struggles. And then diving into fitness when I was about 17. So that was 13, 14, about 14 years ago, almost 15 years ago, is where I really started to try things, try it all. You know, I tried keto. It lasted all of a week. I got like the keto flu after like 5 days, 6 days, and just felt awful. Basically what the keto flu is your body gets this reaction from not having carbs anymore. So you start to feel nauseous and dizzy and just like not great. And so I said, screw this. I'm having carbs again. Plus later on learning that I can still make carbs a part of my life and live a healthy, confident lifestyle. I've done intermittent fasting, which actually only made my relationship with food worse, as I would end up binging and overindulging on food at night, thinking I could have whatever I want just because I simply skipped breakfast and skipped lunch. I've done the fasted cardio, thinking it would ignite my metabolism or at least melt the body fat off my body, which in reality, after doing that for a month or two, it wasn't working. I've tried where I just simply wasn't feeling great because I was hitting my calorie targets, but it was through pizza, it was through McDonald's, it was through Chipotle, it was through junk food. And not saying you can't have those things, but it just makes it a little bit harder when you're only having those things. I've done paleo. I did that in college. And when you like to chug beers and eat McDonald's while you're in college, paleo is really hard. It is unsustainable. I couldn't stick with it. I've done a detox. I've done 2-a-days at the gym. I thought after college, because I actually did 2-a-days for a while, pretty consistently during the summers when I was in college. 1, just to help speed up fat loss progress for sure. But 2, I was playing a sport. I was playing baseball in college, so I'd lift in the morning, do my conditioning in the afternoon, because there was a little bit more of a purpose there. But trying to do that after college, I remember the summer after college doing it, going to the gym at 5 a.m. to do conditioning and to go back to the gym later on to do my lifting. It was just exhausting. And again, unsustainable for a long period of time. Doesn't mean it doesn't have its moments and you can't throw it in, but then you just realize I'd rather spend my time doing elsewhere. I'm going to do the minimal effective dose, just get my 1 training session in, and I can still create the body I want. I can still get the results I want from that. I thought there were foods I wasn't or maybe shouldn't be eating that would make me fat. I remember back in interning my senior year of college, and at the office, I'd be so scared to have dressing on my salad because I thought the dressing would make me fat. So I would literally put these salads together with kale. And if you've ever had kale plain, it's pretty nasty. At least in my opinion, it's pretty nasty. And I would be eating literally plain chicken with kale, this salad spring mix as well, with no dressing. In that same summer as well, I was drinking 6 cups of green tea a day because I read an article that it would stoke my metabolism. But the funny thing is, like, this worked because the reality was I was managing my calories. I was working out twice a day. But by the time fall came back, I would gain all that weight back and then some. I would drop like 15 to 20 pounds in the summer and gain 20 to 30 pounds back within the first 30 days of school starting back up. Because I never just learned moderation. So long story short, you name it, there's a good chance I've done it. And over time, after college, after even getting into personal training, what I ended up learning is that there is so much nonsense out there. There's so much BS out there that makes this process way harder than it needs to be. But what I did learn over time was, why do we always make this so complicated? Why do we make this so much more harder than it needs to be? And I was so thankful the moment I heard of Jordan Syatt, who taught me a lot of this stuff, taught me the best, most simplest, most sustainable way to lose weight and keep it off. And now I want to share that with you. I want to share what I've learned through my experience, through what science says on how you can apply this stuff and keep it simple, keep it sustainable, and make it realistic to your lifestyle. Again, we're trying to fit fitness into your life and not fit your life into fitness. And let's be real, fat loss, weight loss is hard. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. There's ways to make it easier, but not to confuse with easy. So let's make that the sole challenging part. Let's not add more challenges to it. Let's not make it more complicated than it needs to be. So this podcast is for anyone out there who has struggled with weight loss for year over year, maybe decade over decade, who has yo-yo diet and struggled losing and regain the same weight over and over for years on end. Again, maybe even decades on end. So my goal for you is to simply help you through this process so you can not only lose the weight, but lose the weight once and for all and understand how simple it actually can be. And of course, if there are any questions on any of the things I go over today, just reach out. Send me a message on Instagram, kpd.fit. Send me an email, kpd@kpd.fit. But let's get into it. So number 1 on the list, what I want you to start doing as you're dieting, as you're trying to lose weight, is to stop labeling foods as good or bad. Rule number 1 you have to make for yourself. Give yourself permission to eat whatever you want. Because here's the thing. Yes, food is fuel, but it is also more than that. It's the celebrations, it's memories, it's joy, it's pleasure, it's entertainment. So let's talk about what happens when you start to label foods as bad. You start to define them as bad. 1, you do eat the bad food. You have the cookie, you have the chips, you have the pizza, you have the bacon, you have the donut, and you feel guilty because since you ate something bad, that means you should feel bad for doing something bad. When in reality, you didn't do anything bad. You didn't hurt anyone. You didn't break the law. There is nothing bad about eating that food you enjoy. So then you eventually say, screw it. I already ate something bad. Might as well keep going, which leads to you eating thousands upon thousands upon thousands of calories over your calorie target. And you're most likely telling yourself, you know what? I'll start again on Monday. Probably to over restrict again and never eat that food again. At least that's what you're telling yourself until it happens again. And yes, this cycle continues on and on and on and on. And this is why you're still listening to this, because it relates to you. Now, what I am not telling you is to eat nothing but the Twinkies and the pizza and the donuts every single meal of every single day. But this is why labeling foods in a negative way as bad can hurt your relationship with food, can stall you from making any progress when they can just be a part of your lifestyle. An overall healthy relationship with food, an overall healthy lifestyle does include all food. Food is just food. That's what you got to remember it as. Yes, there are foods we want to prioritize that are full of nutrients, and then there are foods that may have less nutrients, but still are a part of your lifestyle as well. So eat the nutrient-dense foods, the foods high in protein, the fruits, the vegetables, the vitamins, the minerals, all that stuff. But gosh, have the slice of cake on your kid's birthday. Have the dessert on your anniversary. Enjoy Friday night pizza night with your friends. So give yourself permission to be able to eat what you want. Stop labeling the foods as good or bad. And when you do this, it gives you a sense of relief. It sort of lifts this weight off your shoulders that you're putting on yourself. It takes away that pressure you put on yourself. So moving forward, after listening to this, start to give yourself that permission. All right, tip number 2, don't major in the minors. Stop majoring in the minors. What I mean by this is you are so focused on minor things. The keto diet, right? The carnivore diet, ice baths, fasted cardio, your meal frequency. And I'm not saying these things can't be helpful or these are things you shouldn't do. What I'm saying here is look at the big picture. Look at the big rocks here. What's going to make the most impact? So no matter what, there are key things that have to be taken care of. A wise man once told me to kiss. Not kiss them, but to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. So what this means is to focus on dialing in and building that strong foundation. Phase number 1, the foundational phase, building a strong foundation that will be the biggest bang for your buck. So that will be 1, manage your calories, right? No matter where those calories come from at the end of the day, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. You will lose fat. So a calorie deficit is king. I don't care if it's Skittles, if it's bread, if it's salads, if it's chicken, if it's steak, if it's avocados, if it's, I think I already said Skittles, grass, dog food, like whatever it is. As long as you're managing your calories, you will lose weight. Keep it simple. Calorie management. So if you like carbs in your life, don't do keto. If you like fats in your food, don't do a low-fat diet. Find the diet that works for your lifestyle. And then protein, another big rock here. It's going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you maintain muscle mass. Make sure when you lose weight, you lose it from your fat tissue, not your muscles. And it's also going to help keep you full and keep you full for longer. So making sure you're eating enough protein each day. Making sure you're getting fruits and vegetables and fiber in your diet. Again, going to help fill you up, help you feel satiated. Also going to help with energy, your mood, and your overall health. Sleep, another big rock. Right? For obvious reasons. Very important for your health, for recovery. Also great for physical and mental energy. So your performances at the gym are high quality and you can have quality decision making. You can have enough mental power, mental energy to make quality decisions. Helping out with your discipline. Daily movement and walking can be huge for weight loss and for improving your overall health. And again, helping you feel physically and mentally better. Working up to get at least 7,000 steps per day. Weightlifting. Resistance training, strength training, going to help improve your quality of life, going to help you build muscle, again, while losing weight, while losing fat. And it also feels freaking badass to lift some heavy weights. And then stress management, which will be a big one we talk about later on, but being able to manage your emotions, to regulate your emotions. So when life gets stressful, we're not walking to the fridge. We're not walking to our cabinets to eat our emotions. Now, if you're wondering about the ice baths, the fasting, doing the trendy diet, the low carb diet, the low fat diet, the keto diet, do them if you want. But unless you have a grasp on those other areas I was just talking about, those should be your focus. Those things are going to make a bigger impact on your fat loss, your weight loss, your health than all the trendy, quote unquote, hot topics that Isaac the influencer is talking about. All right, number 3, when it comes to entering a fat loss diet, I want you to focus on more what you can add in than what you can take out. Because what happens every time you enter a fat loss phase or you start weight loss? You think about all the things you need to start restricting yourself from doing. You need to stop doing less of. Like no more carbs, no more fat, no more sugar, no more junk food, no more Netflix. All the things you need to cut back. Dial back. Then what happens after a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, maybe it is even a couple months, you give in and end up having or doing whatever you told yourself you weren't going to do or have. And you quit because you, quote unquote, failed and go banana pants with your diet. And again, this probably starts to cycle over and over again at some point. And I'll say this, it's not the carbs, it's not the fat, it's not the sugar, it's not the junk food, it's not the Netflix causing you to not make progress. It's the way you're thinking about it. It's your mindset behind it. As I said earlier, like all these things are going to be a part of your lifestyle. Let's be real. We like to enjoy ice cream. We like to enjoy pizza. You damn right we like to enjoy a donut once in a while. Because these moments can add to our life. And they're friggin' delicious. But instead what I want you to do is this. Focus on adding in things you want to see and need yourself to do more of. The things that will help improve your health, that will help with you losing weight and losing fat. So instead of subtracting those things out, think about adding other things in, adding more fruit, adding more vegetables, adding more protein, adding more water. Maybe it's not cutting out the French fries, cutting out the pizza, cutting out the donuts, cutting out the chips, but it's making sure you're having more fruits and vegetables, having more protein on each meal. Maybe it's not about cutting out Netflix altogether, but just making sure you're walking more, you're getting in more movement, you're prioritizing a couple workouts a week, but still allow yourself to watch some Netflix throughout the week. And yes, what does this naturally do is like when you're adding more things in, it just will naturally start to take away from some other things. So for example, if you're looking at a plate of food and you notice your plate is half a plate of French fries, it's a quarter of plate of protein, maybe it's chicken, and then another quarter of broccoli. When you think about adding in more vegetables, we obviously have to create room for that. So we're going to start by adding in half a plate of vegetables. And then we will also want to make sure we still get that quarter plate of protein, but now it leaves just a quarter plate of French fries. So we went from half a plate of French fries to now a quarter plate of French fries. We weren't necessarily mentally taking out the French fries, but we were adding in more broccoli, more vegetables to that meal, which is going to help with calorie management, helping you stay full, helping you feel satiated, but still allowing that little bit of flexibility as well. So think about adding in versus taking out. All right, number 4, we're going to get into one of the most underrated topics, in my opinion, out there. And I'm sure you're already guessing it because it's managing your stress, managing your emotions. Because listen, you know what you need to do. Not to say there isn't education needed or more to learn about, nutrition and training and all that stuff. But for the most part, you have a good sense. You need protein. You need to eat fruits. You need to eat vegetables. You need to drink more water. You need to move your body. But where you struggle is when life gets busy, when life has added more stress. That's where you fall off. That's where the case of the fuckets come in and you stop. Because when stress rises, you struggle to manage it. You're most likely using food as an outlet, or the tools you do use to manage stress don't align with your goals and values, whether it's alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, scrolling, like whatever it may be. It hurts. It impacts your mental health. How do I know that? Because I used to be the same way. I use external things to give me temporary hits of dopamine, temporary relief of stress. So when life gets stressful, because I'm sorry to tell you this, it's going to be stressful. There's going to be phases. There's going to be curveballs thrown, and just shit happens sometimes, unfortunately. That's just the truth. What you have to do is find ways to help manage that stress. Give yourself space to feel those emotions so you can still stay on track and stay consistent with your other behaviors, and finding things that will help you relieve that stress and not negatively impact your journey on losing weight, losing fat, and improving your health. This could be walking. Giving yourself space to go on a walk every time you feel that emotion and you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out. Go on a walk. Give yourself 10, 20 minutes. Get outside. Give yourself space to go feel those emotions. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's setting some time aside to journal each day. Maybe it's talking with a friend, being able to vent to someone you really trust. Or maybe it's even talking to a therapist. Talk to a professional that can help guide you to finding the root cause of why you react maybe the way you react. Because these problems and issues you have shouldn't be ignored, or they're not going to go away. They're not going to be solved. Again, you're going to ignore them, use drinking, drugs, food, shopping, etc. to try to solve them. Or maybe you're thinking mentally, hey, I just got to change my mindset. I got to figure this out. Well, if you're having these mental challenges and then you're trying to use your mindset, which is what is struggling and being challenged to try and solve them, how do you think that's going to work? When you're trying to use your mindset, your mental current state to solve these mental challenges, these current mental challenges you're having, it's most likely going to continue bouncing around. So then talking to someone, you can start to dive a little bit deeper, create more self-awareness, educate yourself on why you do what you do, why you react the way you react, where this all stems from. So when life gets crazy, if your stress is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no stress, 10 being super high stress, these things like walking, meditation, journaling, talking to someone, giving yourself space to feel these emotions will allow those higher stressful days, maybe it's a 7, 8, 9, or even a 10, to calm you down to maybe a 3, 4, 5, or even a 6. It maybe won't get rid of the stress completely, but it will calm you down. It will allow you to get back in control of your emotions, which in return can help you make better decisions towards your fat loss and health goals. And one thing I do want to share that my therapist shared with me as well, I believe she actually got this from a coach named Georgie Fear, but they're called real life treats. So yes, it's still great to find ways to our outlets to manage your stress, but also throwing in these real life treats can just be helpful as well. Since we do seek out entertainment, joy, and pleasure with stress relief, again, that's why we probably lean towards food, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff. But these treats can still be pleasurable and maybe even entertaining, but in a healthy way. So that could be setting some time aside to have a special night out with a friend, with a partner. Maybe it's a special dinner. Maybe it's treating yourself to a massage. Maybe it's treating yourself to a manicure or a pedicure. Maybe it's getting that haircut, going golfing with your friends, reading a book, going to the movies, going to the beach. Where again, these are fun, entertaining, pleasurable, joyful things that are also treats as well, but also not going to impact you not losing weight, not making progress. So those are a couple of mine. Yes, I do like to get a mani-pedi once in a while. They are fantastic. If you haven't done it, don't knock it till you try it. But some other ideas could just be picking up a sport, picking up a hobby. Maybe it's basketball, pickleball, tennis, a club of some sort, a reading club, a book club. I don't know why I called it a reading club. Doing some gardening, doing some painting, going on a hike, doing a puzzle, going to a show, a comedy show, a Broadway show. So picking something that you enjoy, brings you pleasure and entertainment to your life, but will also help with stress management as well. All right, number 5, the power of walking, the power of movement, the power of getting your steps in. So as you know, or if you don't know, that's okay. But if you've been listening to me, as you know, walking is by far the most underrated form of exercise. One of my favorite ways to exercise. Going to walk every morning. I like to start my workouts with a walk. I like to end them with a walk. I love going on a walk in the evening with my wife. And the best part, it's free and you can do it anywhere. And the benefits go far beyond just the physical benefits, but the mental too. Hence why I put it in the stress relief section. But walking is also going to be very low impact, which gives you the ability to do it if you are unsure where to start at the gym, or even if you're feeling too anxious to go to the gym. And the crazy part, in my opinion, hammering some steps each day can be just as impactful as going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. Because if you think about it, say you go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, that is about 2 to 3 hours, let's say, of exercise. Well, if you're getting about 8 to 10,000 steps a day, and that takes roughly, let's say, an hour to an hour and a half, that is around 7,000 to maybe, I don't know what 90 times 7 is. Let me do that real quick. 90 times 7 divided by 60. 10 and a half hours a week. So that's 7 to 10 and a half hours of movement and exercise collected throughout the week. And I'm not saying not to strength train. Absolutely, strength training has so many benefits, as it's going to help build muscle. It's going to help with your quality of life, going to help improve so many health factors. I'm just saying how impactful getting your steps in and getting walking in, especially again, if you are feeling anxious to go to the gym, you don't know where to start to go to the gym, really dialing in, getting in daily movement through walking can make a huge, so by starting to get in those, let's say 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day, where it's simple and effective, can make a huge impact on your weight loss. But like I said, obviously that doesn't mean not to strength train. Obviously both together are very powerful, but I just want you to understand how impactful, how helpful just getting more daily movement in each day can be. All right, so as I just said, getting more daily movement, we are going to talk about strength training now. Yes, if you know me, I am a meathead at heart, so you may feel that I am biased here. I absolutely am. But there's also a lot of research to support my opinion on why lifting weights can be very optimal for losing weight, losing fat, and building muscle. So I do highly recommend you lift heavy, and you lift often. Because I assume the body you are trying to create, the physique you are trying to create, is more of this toned, leaner look, right? We don't want to just lose weight. We want to lose fat. We want to be able to maintain our muscle and add definition to our body. So on top of being in a calorie deficit and eating enough protein, strength training is going to be huge in helping you reach your body composition goals. Now, aside from that, as I said, it's going to enhance your quality of life. It's going to increase your metabolism. It's going to help improve your mental health. It's going to help with improving your bone density, increase your balance. So there are many reasons on why it can help you from an outside of changing your physique standpoint and a fat loss standpoint. It's going to help your entire life and your quality of life over time. And lastly, with strength training, being able to lift some heavy ass weight, like for me, I love deadlifting, it will make you feel badass and give you these empowering feelings. Like watching yourself develop strength through strength training is going to help so much with helping you develop and increase your confidence in yourself, because at the end of the day, the barbell and dumbbells don't lie. The weight is always the same. So if you notice you see your progress and you're lifting more weight, you're doing more reps, that's because you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, and that's a reflection on you. So when you start to see that progress of lifting more weight, doing more reps, the return is you're feeling more like a badass. You're feeling more confident. You're feeling more empowered. So what I'd recommend is to strength train anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week. If you're doing 2 days a week, you can do either an upper body day and a lower body day. You can do 2 full body days. If you're doing 3 days a week, you can do an upper body day, a lower body day, a full body day, or you can do a push-pull leg split. If you're doing 4 days a week, you can do upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. I have a client right now I train, he actually likes to do 5 days a week. So we do a push-pull legs, and then we do a full-on upper body and a full-on lower body. So hopefully that gives you some insight on how to break it down when you are strength training. All right, next up. The power of sleep. Get some damn sleep. Shut the TV down. Stop scrolling. Put the phone down and go to bed. Most importantly, stop listening to Isaac the influencer who tells you that sleep is overrated and that you can quote unquote sleep when you're dead. No, thank you. Fuck off, Isaac. Sleep is a big deal, especially when it comes to losing weight and staying healthy. Sleep will impact things like your energy, your decision-making, your recovery. But let's quickly talk about 2 hormones here, your ghrelin and your leptin. Ghrelin is a hormone that signals hunger, and leptin is a hormone that signals fullness when you feel full. When you lack sleep, your ghrelin increases, meaning your hunger increases. And when you also lack sleep, your leptin will decrease, meaning you will feel less full. So all in all, you're going to feel more hungry and you're going to feel hungrier more often, which can make fat loss and weight loss a lot more challenging when you're feeling hungrier and hungrier more often. So we want to try and aim to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Now, obviously, new parents, do the best with what you got. I always say that when I talk about sleep. You're in this phase right now where obviously you got to keep this baby alive. So you got to get up in the middle of the night. You might be getting 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. It might even be tougher than that. But for all of you listening and you are more in control of your night, shut down the TV, stop scrolling, set a limit, set an intention to get to bed. But outside of what I was just saying with sleep, that's also where the magic's going to happen. It's where your muscles and your tissue repair after an intense workout. It's where your brain can recover. It's where your body can recover. I always like to use this analogy of imagining sleep, which is where this construction crew comes in at night to fix and repair any daily wear and tear. And without this repair and recovery, your body has a hard time recovering whatsoever. So it's important to make sleep a priority. It can be a superpower for you. It can make a huge difference in you staying consistent and feeling good, because your body needs that time to rebuild, to refreshen up, to tackle the next day and feel as good as you can while doing it. Well, yeah, and then one more point I want to actually make about sleep is your decision making. So I don't know if you were like this. I definitely wasn't like this, but this is sort of the example that comes to mind is being in college, pulling an all-nighter during finals. Again, I didn't do this. I hated school. I sucked at school. I remember having all-nighters for other reasons, and that includes more dancing with my shirt off and fist pumping, but we'll save that for another day. But anyways, what happened the following days? You were left wanting to snuggle up in bed, not move from your bed all day, watch Netflix all day, skip the gym, or maybe you do make it to the gym, but you have a half-ass workout because you don't have the mental energy to make decisions that align with your goals. So treat sleep like it is your best friend. The number one supplement you should be prioritizing. And again, if you are a new parent or if you even work crazy hours overnight, if you're a nurse by any means, do the best with what you got. Prioritize sleep and just do the best with what you got. All right, we're on to number 8 now. More of a mindset thing here to remember that this whole health thing, taking care of your health, moving your body, eating nutrient-dense foods, improving your relationship with food, finding this Goldilocks zone of yours between taking care of your health, but finding that flexibility and moderation. This isn't just a 30-day thing. This isn't just a 3-month thing, 6-month thing, 1-year thing, 2-year thing. This shit is forever. And every time I'm saying this shit is forever, I always think of the scene from The Sandlot where Squints' uncle says, forever, forever. This shit is forever. Play the long game. Understand you are trying to improve some behaviors, some habits, ingrain some habits into your lifestyle because this is forever. And a big mistake you tend to make is trying to lose weight as fast as possible, trying to make progress as quickly as possible. The reality is you're going to lose that progress as quickly as you made it. So instead, try to lose weight, try to make progress, try to lose fat as sustainable as possible. Don't cut your calories as low as possible to make progress as quickly as possible. Cut your calories to eat as much as possible, so keep them as high as possible, while being able to still make progress as sustainable as possible. Sustainability, consistency, the name of the game. You want to win this game? Find the sustainable approach where you can be consistent. A big thing that a lot of individuals don't understand is how you lose the weight is going to help you maintain it as well. So improving your daily movement, improving your relationship with food, improving your calorie management, improving your training, improving your stress management. These big rocks, once dialed in, are going to be things you continue to do. And I know it seems like a lot right now, but we tend to overestimate what we can do in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But we underestimate what we can do in a year, what we can do in 2 years, what we can do in 3 years, and 5 years. So like I said at the very, very beginning of this podcast, is we're trying to create this happily ever after. So when we approach it from making small changes and being as consistent as heck with those small changes for years on end, that's what's going to help create the happily ever after. Is changing your behaviors, making these habits a part of your life, to take care of your health, and to have the physical and mental freedom to live happily ever after. So play the long game here. And by the way, this isn't to be like a Debbie Downer here, because the reality is you'll still make progress along the way. You'll start making changes mentally and physically along the way. It just might not be as fast as you want. You're not going to get there overnight. You didn't get to where you are today overnight. It's not going to change overnight as well. Because in order for changes to happen, changes have to happen. With the way we've been thinking about things and doing things for year over year, decade over decade, and it's just going to take a little bit more time than you want. But you will get there and you will change as long as you stick with it. So this is why it's so important to make sure you're starting off small, making these things that are unfamiliar, where you haven't been able to stay consistent with them month over month, make them more familiar. Start to change the way you think about food, the way you think about doing things, and focus on just making one little change at a time, take it one little step at a time, be consistent with those things, and be patient. Put your head down for the next 3 to 6 months. And then after that, lift it up, see how far you've come, then put it back down and get back to work. And that will help you become that ultimate badass I know you can be. All right, last 2 points here. Consistency beats perfection all day, every day. I always thought I had to be perfect. I was definitely all in or all out. But doing that for year over year over year over year, and always being stuck in the same place from where I started to where I ended, eventually just got exhausting. Because the reality is, like, perfection is an unattainable goal. But consistency, on the other hand, that's key. That's where magic happens. I always think of perfection of this elusive unicorn we chase. But when it comes to fat loss and your fitness, aiming for perfection is like trying to balance a watermelon on a toothpick. Most likely going to be really hard and unsustainable and just not going to happen. So slip-ups happen, mistakes happen, setbacks happen. And again, I always like to joke about Tom Brady, but he didn't even win every single Super Bowl he was in. But yet, he is known as the best quarterback of all time and has great results from his career. The same can go for you. You're not going to win every moment. You're not going to win every day. You're not going to not have slip-ups, not going to have mistakes, not have setbacks, but you can still have a great life, an improved life, a healthy life. So let's drop this notion of perfect eating and adopt a more realistic, sustainable approach and shift our focus to being consistent, Progress over perfection. One thing I always love to mention with my one-on-one clients is when they're not perfect in a month, but they've also dropped 5 pounds, I always say to them, like, hey, listen, like, you weren't perfect, but what you did over the course of this entire month still allowed you to make progress. It still gave you 5 pounds down of fat loss. So we know what you're doing overall is working, even though it's not perfect. And think about it like this. If you're going to lose 5 pounds every single month, that's 60 pounds down this year. So that's why it's also important to remember to play the long game. You lose 1 pound a week for the next 52 weeks. That's 52 pounds in a year. Imagine your life down 52 pounds right now. I'm sure that'd be a great feeling. So a good way to practice consistency, diving into this consistency mindset over this perfectionist mindset, is do a consistency calendar. Maybe you have like 1, 2, or 3 habits on there, and your goal is to be consistent with those habits throughout the month. So for example, one way I like to go about a consistency calendar is a calorie target, a protein target, and steps, where each day you have a target you're trying to set. And that might be 5,000 steps a day. It might be 100 grams of protein a day. It might be 1,800 to 2,100 calories a day. And every day you hit all 3 of those, you give yourself a check mark. And any day you miss one of them, you give yourself an X. And then see how consistent you're overall being over the course of the month. And at the end of the month, you might notice, hey, I'm down 3 pounds and I was 81% consistent this month. Beautiful. You're 3 pounds down, being 81% consistent. That's not perfect, but it was consistent, and it makes sense why you're making progress and heading in the direction you want to head in. Or the other side of it is reality could hit. Hey, I didn't lose any weight this month. Hey, let's look at your calendar. You know what? You were only 40% consistent this month, so that kind of makes sense. So let's focus on being a little bit more consistent, and not to say adjustments wouldn't be made or could be made, but let's just be better at being consistent. But when you create this calendar, it allows you to have a day where you may fall off track, but remind yourself mentally that, hey, I fell off track yesterday. I'm still fighting to be 80% consistent here. I can still do it. I'll just get back on track today and get back to work, and day over day, take it one day at a time, keep being consistent, versus being like 5 days in and being like, oh, I already screwed up today. You know what? This month's over with. Might as well start till next month. Nah. None of that. All right. The last thing I wish someone told me when it came to fat loss, improving my health, losing the weight, is to not get so caught up in the scale and make sure you are celebrating non-scale victories. Because the reality is, which I feel like I've said the reality is 25 times here, but we're going to keep rolling. One take show here. Success in a weight loss journey goes way beyond just the number on the scale. Bigger successes when it comes to weight loss are the mental ones. The fixing your relationship with food, the having the donut on a Sunday with the family and not feeling guilty because of it, when you always felt guilty beforehand, so it made you eat 10 more donuts, order a pizza, drink a gallon of Coca-Cola, and just spiral on and on. It's the success, the victories you have with your behaviors and habits that really should get the attention, that can really make all the difference. And the other thing is, let's say we are talking about physical progress. The scale isn't going to tell the whole story. The amount of clients I've had that you look at their progress pictures and the scale didn't really move at all, if maybe only a little, but their bodies look physically completely different. You can see they're losing weight off their stomach. They're losing their love handles. They're getting more definition in their arms, and the scale didn't really move all that much. It happens. But if you don't have those progress pictures, you're just solely focused on the scale and you feel like you're not making progress. But the reality is, if you had the progress pictures and you looked at them from day one to the current date and you said like, hey, holy crap, like I do see a difference. I am making progress. Like I just had a client the other day who over the last month, their weight has stayed the same, but they mentioned to me, hey, I had these jeans from 2 or 3 years ago that I couldn't even put on. I couldn't even button together. And now they fit comfortably. And that's because they're physically making progress. Their body is changing. They are losing fat. And I know for that person, individuals, they are lifting like a monster and really consistent, training a lot. So I know they are building muscle. So even though the scale isn't reflecting and going down, what is happening is their fat is being lost, but their muscle is being built. So it ends up balancing on the scale and saying like they're not losing any weight, but they're actually losing fat and gaining muscle. So all in all, make sure you're not only using the scale to measure your progress. Obviously, from a physical standpoint, you can use measurements as well, like your waist and hips. You can also use progress pictures as well. Take them every like 4 to 6 weeks and see how you're progressing. You can even use clothing. If there's a pair of jeans that are really snug on you right now, cool. Let's get to work. Let's be consistent. Let's take care of these big rocks and see how they fit in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But also make sure you are recognizing the non-physical progress victories as well, such as getting stronger in the gym, having more energy day to day, feeling like your mood's improved day to day, feel like you have better stress management, you're binge eating less, you're overindulging less, you're being more consistent with your habits than you've ever been. Acknowledge those positive changes in how you're feeling, how you're functioning, how you're acting, because those will help reinforce the significance of your efforts. And that progress goes a long, long way. All right, so I know I said I had 10, but I saved you a secret bonus one here. And I really wish someone told me this, is that no matter what, no matter a workout you miss, the days you go over your calories, whatever mistake you made, you can't fuck this up. The only way you fuck this up is if you decide to quit altogether. Listen, I believe in you. I know you can do this. I've seen countless people do it who've had similar struggles. They've struggled with their relationship with food. They struggle with their consistency, their mindset. But when you shift this approach to knowing mistakes will happen, I will have slip-ups. That's just life. I'm a human here. But I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep giving it my effort. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to keep it simple, stupid. Over time, you'll start to grow. You'll start to develop, you'll start to progress, you'll start to learn, you'll have more awareness, and it's all going to click at some point. And if you approach this from playing the long game, playing like you're trying to make changes for the rest of your life, trying to make some changes to implement to your lifestyle that'll help you get to your end goal for the rest of your life, you are going to get there. I promise you that. This shit is forever, but I recognize it. You're human. Those mistakes will be made. Lessons will be learned though, and you'll grow from them. And then you just keep moving forward. Make the appropriate adjustments as needed. I always say it at the end of each of these podcasts. I 100% believe in you and I know you can do this. And that's where we close things out. So as you know, the last 14, 15 years on my own journey has been through various diets, fitness trends, led me to a lot of confusion. But the 10, 11 tips I went over today were just things I'm happy I did learn over time, but I wish someone told me sooner, as there is a bunch of cluttered and unnecessary BS information out there telling you you have to do this or you'll grow a third nipple and your head will explode. Keep it simple. Take care of these big rocks. There's no need to do these restrictive diets to banana pants workout routines. The journey seems to be more daunting than it needs to be, but keep it simple. And hopefully this was able to simplify the process for you and give you the power so you can achieve lasting success in not only fat loss, but in your overall health and well-being. And if you have any questions, anything else I can help out with, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm always here for you. I always believe in you. I appreciate you tuning in, which by the way, if you haven't left a 5-star review yet, please leave a 5-star review. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But I do appreciate you. Go eat the damn donut and we'll talk soon. Cheers.